Hello, Susie from the Speckled Loon here. I am just checking to make sure we are live on all platforms, Facebook and YouTube, and we'll get going with our DIY projects here in just a second. I always come on a little bit early just to make sure, and I'm just going to check to make sure we're live, rolling, audio's working. Okay, we're on Facebook, that's good, and then I'm going to check YouTube, and then I'm going to set my phone down. So how's everybody doing today? I hope you're doing well. Just waiting for YouTube to kick in. And we're going to be making some fun projects today. And I'm going to have a few previews of our new items. And we'll talk a few other things like our fall shows, other things like that. So let's just see here. I have not seen it on Facebook yet. Let's see here. Okay, we're on Facebook. And we're on YouTube. Good. All right. So it is noon on the dot. Hi, what's everybody having for lunch? Oops. Hold on just 1 second. We don't need to hear me twice. There we go. Um, if you're here and watching, comment. I would love to see down in the comments where you're coming in from. And I have got everything. Hi, Peggy. All right. Can't wait to see new things. Yes, I've got lots of fun new things we're going to talk about. We're probably going to show you a couple things, do our DIY, show you a couple more things. So we'll probably do that. But if you're catching us live, please comment down below. Hello, a little wave emoji, thumbs up emoji, where you're coming in from, what you're having for lunch, anything like that. I'd love to see. And then as I'm crafting, please comment on what you think of the projects, and we'll go from there. Um, we're going to be using a camera overhead here in just a minute. I'm going to move the camera from up above here in front of me to overhead. I haven't figured out how to run two cameras yet, but that's my goal for the next time I go live. So hopefully we'll do that. But we are going to talk today about our Christmas in July in-person DIY that's happening on July 15th at my house here in Grand Forks, North Dakota at 7 o'clock at night. If you live in or around Grand Forks and are interested, I have posted the link. You'll see the link in there where you can buy the tickets. We've got 4 spots remaining. I always can do at my house just a small group. We usually do about 10 or 11 people. We have 4 spots left, and we will be making some really fun projects. First of all, I got to show you my fun, the name of my business is The Speckled Loon, and look at this fun little thing I found the last time we were in Minnesota. Isn't that funny? I don't have a name for it yet, but I just thought it'd be a fun little prop to have when we are crafting or online. We'll have a loon with us, just like the one up here in my logo. So, but this is what we're going to be working on today. I am going to be making the projects for the Christmas in July workshop. We are having that workshop, like I said, here on the 15th at my house in Grand Forks, North Dakota. And we will be making all the projects here, and I'm going to see today if I can make them in and around 1 hour. So we'll see how that goes. But this is what the kit looks like when you come to one of our workshops. You always get everything in either a neat little bag or box, and then you open it up. And this particular one, when you open it up, you get some instructions. You'll have there's a scan code there. That's going to take you to this video that will be on YouTube. And then you get a couple of pre-made items. You're going to get your base items, and your base items in this kit are this cute little cutting board that has a frame, and then this cute little mason jar mug. Those are pre-made for you, so you don't have to do those. And the reason I do that is they're kind of larger projects, and I want to keep everything at the workshop fun and easy to do and get you in and out in like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I'm going to show you how everything goes together. When we do a workshop, you usually get an interchangeable, this one, an interchangeable set of decor. Let's see, I want to get this so we see the whole thing. So there we go. So for this base piece here, this is kind of fun. This is a mason jar mug. It's got a frame here for the little tiles, and then it's got an opening here at the top, and we are going to be making mug huggers. And they can go in a regular mug or they can go in this bake mug. But you've got, for each season, we're going to do a summer set and a Christmas set. For each set, you get, we're going to do 2 little frames. So for the summer, we've got 2 little frames we're doing. This one says hello, or 2 little pictures. It says hello summer on it. And then this one, it's just a sun on a blue background. And then this is the mug hugger. So it says sunny and it's got a little sun on it. So you can pick what you want to display and how you want to display it. You can put this one in here. It has a snug little fit there. And then this one, it just drops right down and displays in the mug. Hello summer. And then the mug hugger, and these mug huggers have a spacer on them. You see that, where they have a spacer? And it just rests right there on top. So that's your summer look. So we're going to make those 3 summer projects, the 2 little signs and then the mug hugger, okay? And then we've got 3 Christmas projects we're going to make. We've got a Christmas Santa gnome mug hugger and then 2 Christmas signs. One is a hot cocoa and the other is a little Christmas tree. So those are the 2 Christmas ones we'll make. So you can leave this up, and then for summer, when summer's over, you'll take them out. I pushed that one in tight. There we go. I got that one just a smidge too tight. Okay. So there's the hot chocolate. And take out this mug hugger. Take out the sign. We'll put the other sign right in here. And then the Santa mug hugger in there. And then we swapped it out and you're ready for Christmas. So those are the 2 sets we're making when you come. When you come, I'm going to have all the paint, all the glue, everything you need to do, and all the instructions and everything. And if I have any leftover kits and you want to get an extra one, then you'll have these video instructions right here to go through. So I am going to swap the camera over here in just a second. And we're going to have an overhead view while I craft. But I did want to mention one other thing. I've got one other workshop going on in September. And this is what we're making there. It's going to be called Petals and Projects. And we're making that fun sunflower sunny sign. You'll have the little baskets pre-made for you, that sunflower insert, and then that mini sign and a garland. And that workshop is on September 11th at 6:30 at night at Nelson's Pumpkin Patch in Emerado, just west of Grand Forks, about 15 miles, right before the Air Force Base. And that one is going to be in September. If you're looking for the link to that one, all you have to do is go over to my Facebook page, and under the events tab, you'll find the Petals and Projects. And the link is right there where you can buy the tickets, and that's $40. This one also, $40 to join this workshop. We have 4, last I checked right before I came on, we've got 4 openings left. So if you want to be on that one, make sure you go ahead and sign up for that as soon as possible so you can guarantee your spot. So I'm just going to take my items out of here. We're going to set everything aside, and we're going to move our camera and get rolling. And make our projects. Hopefully we can get all our projects done in about an hour and get rolling. So you can have your lunch and get on with your afternoon. If you're at work, it's probably a short work week for you. Most people in the U.S. would have Friday off for Independence Day, which is fun. And that's one of my favorite holidays. So we'll talk supplies and everything here in just a minute. I'm just going to get organized with my projects, and hopefully I'll show you too. The projects come individually wrapped in your little thing. You also have a packet full of some supplies, super glue, toothpicks, Q-tips, sponges. We're going to be using the small 2-ounce acrylic paints and paint markers to make everything, and should go fairly quickly as we get organized. All right, clear my spot so I've got lots of room to work. And I'm going to flip the camera around now, so hold on just 1 second while I take you for a little ride. Don't get too dizzy. There we go. That's a pretty good angle, I think. I'll get my computer mouse out of the way. Just a little. There we go. Okay, I think we're good. I'm going to just move this way just a bit. There. That looks good. I'm just on a green, kind of a green silicone mat. So if you see a kind of a green tinge to things, that's what's going on. These are the paint markers I'm using today. They're called Sharpie Creative Marker. You can find them at Walmart, Amazon, wherever. But any acrylic paint marker will do. These are just the ones I'm using today. They have some bullet tip, brush tip ones, and they are super nice and easy to use and widely available. But there's lots of different brands of paint markers you can find wherever you want. So I think we'll start out with our summer projects first. Just going to move those markers out of the way. And Peggy says it's 99 in Utah. Oh my goodness, Peggy. Yes. Okay. So if you're just joining us, hello, welcome. Susie from the Speckled Loon. We're going to get started here in a minute. We are going to start off with our summer projects. So this is how they come, and this is how it's going to look when it's done. But I pack them up because there's a lot of little small pieces and parts. So you want to, I like to keep everything all together for you. And with these small projects, that's what these markers are so great for. So for this little sign, it comes pre-painted. It comes pre-primed. It's about 2.5 inches square, and it's already painted white. And the reason I do that is if I paint it white for you first, and then I cut it out, it takes the whatever color you're going to put on there much better. Okay, and same thing for the little sun. And then we'll just be using, this is the glue I'm using, but you get super glue in your project. The one I'm using is Starbond Thick. The one you get in your project is a gel super glue. They're the same thing. I just use so much of this, I just use it out of a bottle instead of those tiny little tubes because I'd be going through one of those every day. So these are basically 3 parts. It is the base, it is the sunshine, outer ring, and the sun, middle of the sun, the center of the sun. And then when it's all done, you can put it in your frame. Okay. And I will keep the done one over here as a reference. So we don't, let's see, we'll go on this side instead. As a reference, so we know where we're at, and then we're going to kind of go from there. Now I am going to just be using this paper plate, so I make sure that I keep in frame, and we're going to be using this blue. This is like from Michael's. I don't even think it's $1 for one of these. And I'm going to, I've got a little palette up here. I'm going to put a little bit in there. going to dip this sponge. I like painting with sponges on these small projects rather than brushes. You don't get brush strokes and you get a nice pretty coverage and you can blend. And look at that, kind of looks like a sky blue. And you just go across it like that. That's all you do when you need to paint any of these projects. I try to keep it away from the edges. I like my edges to stay nice and dark. And I like to get it as even as possible. And then what I do is I let this dry. I always do one coat, and then I see if I need a second coat. So I'll set my sponge up, and we will get to work on these. These two things I am going to go ahead. I did my inner orange and my outer yellow. You can do either way, right? So I'm going to take a yellow marker and an orange marker. So I've got this nice bright yellow Sharpie Creative marker. And some of them come with either this bullet tip, okay, or a brush tip. I prefer the brush tip when I'm doing a large area because I just kind of take it on its side and go around like that. And these have nice coverage. You usually only need one coat. You're able to keep your edges nice and clean, and you can do a small concentrated area. While it's still wet, you can do shading with other colors, all kinds of fun stuff. And I'm going to try to keep in frame as much as possible for you. All right. Okay, if you're just joining us or if you're catching us on the replay, just do a little hashtag replay or say hello at any time in the comments. That would be wonderful. I always enjoy reading them later and getting back to people. So there's that ring. Okay, that's that yellow already. And look at how that pops off that blue. It's so pretty. So I'm going to set that aside. Okay, I'm going to find an orange. I've got a couple different oranges. I want to get the brush one again. Now, this comes with these little items here scored already in there. And this is why I like to use the markers, because it won't get down in those scores. It stays clean. If I did get down in the scores, when you come to the workshop, you get one of these little pin pens, and you can just dig out any paint by putting it in that score line. Okay? When you come to the workshop, everything that's in your box is yours to take home, and then you just leave the paints and everything with me and go from there. But I give everybody the info of what to use. See how that color's so nice? What to use for paints if they want to do an at-home kit. Our take-home kits do not include paint because I'm not going to assume what colors that you want. People come to the workshop. Some of them, if they're beginners, they like to paint it just exactly in the colors I've had or traditional colors. And then I get those ones that are very creative and artsy, and they tend to like to go their own direction. So now this is kind of, didn't get great coverage, so I'm going to do a second coat on this. The second coat always looks so much better. And do that. Okay. And then we're just going to let that dry while we work on our next project, and we will go from there. So I like that so far though. So I'm going to just set this one aside, and we're going to do our Hello Summer. Okay. And that's this little sun, mini sun, and then this hello is scored in, and the summer is a decal that we'll put on. It's got an adhesive backing. It's already cut. And then we're just going to do a little bit of shading with a sponge on the sides, and I'll show you that technique. We are going to use markers for that and not even paint. You can do it with paint, but I'm going to show you how to do it with markers and a sponge. So that is our Hello Summer. We'll get that baby opened up. Okay. Okay, so Here is our pre-primed backer. And again, it was primed. I painted it yellow, or excuse me, painted it white, and then we ran it through the cutter. It put all this on there, and this is showing you where you need to put the word summer and where you need to put the sun. And then this hello will be exposed. Like that. We'll do our shading. And then we'll use markers to color the sun. We'll color the same orange and yellow on the sun. And then we will do, I'll put the orange back. There's the orange. And then we will do, I did the summer in a pretty blue. I'll do this blue for it. Okay. And then we're going to do some shading with the orange and yellow. So we'll probably do that first. So you're going to take one of your sponges that comes in your kit, and you kind of can pick whichever color you want to do. So I'm going to come in with the yellow first, and I'm going to put it right on my sponge just a little bit. See how I color that? And then I'm just going to brush it along the side here. And it's not greatly visible, but you can kind of see it here. I'm always at a challenge with my lighting. We'll go on a little darker and a little bigger. Okay, that. And we'll go over on the other side, and then I'll go over with a little bit of orange too. Okay. Kind of just frame it. That's what I like to do. Just for that subtle look. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use the same sponge, and I'll just use the other side here, and I'm going to just overlay ever so slightly with a little bit of orange. Just kind of blend it in. Almost like an ombre look. And you get that blended yellow and orange. Okay? And the nice thing about this being pre-painted, it just really pops with that color. So the only thing now we need to do is our coloring of our pieces. So again, I'm going to do the inside of my sun, the orange. There we go. And I just kind of go lightly over those scored parts. I used to pre-record these videos and do them, but it took forever to edit, and I just figured it's easier just to go live. And also, there's that adhesive backing. I'll show you how that works. It's just easier to go live and chat as I go, and then have this bookmarked in there for them if they need to look at it later. So we don't always offer our kits for take home. But if I have any spots unfilled, let's just say everybody signs up at one person, I'll throw that one out there for the customers that come if they want to buy it. And then they've got these instructions for whoever wants them. Okay, so there's that. And you can see how quickly these projects come together when we pre-prime things, we paint things. I didn't grab the brush tip one of these, but that's fine. This is the bullet tip. You can kind of see how that works. And these are delicate pieces, so I try not to go too hard on any of them. Try to treat them. I've got a laser that cuts, well, I actually have two that cuts all these things. I started out my business, I didn't have a laser, and then I got one in, I think it was 4 years ago, 2021, kind of a small starter one. And then I kind of had trouble with it. So I switched to another brand. And so I still have a small starter one, because when it broke in the middle of my craft fair season one year, I got a refurbished one. And then I upgraded to a different model. So now I actually run 2 lasers in my shop. And that helps me greatly with mass production. And what I'm working on now is all these things that I sell in my fall and my holiday shows. So I have got craft shows coming up. You can look at the events tab on my Facebook page or on my web page, and it will show you all the ones I have coming up. I've got one in East Grand Forks, Minnesota.
one in Grand Forks, North Dakota, which is where I live. They're just across the river from each other. And then I've got 2 in Fargo and 1 in Bismarck coming up. So that is all our pieces for this particular sign. Now, this one does not need to dry. It's already ready to go. So I am going to get out my little picky pen, like you guys will have one when you come. I've got several of them. And I'm going to just place my items. Then this sign is going to be done. And then the other sign is dry, so we can put that one together. But these pre-adhesive backed items, I just take my picky pen and get that protective coating off of there. And just, I'll start a trash pile here off camera so you don't have to look at my mess. And you see where this is outlined, that scored part? You just line that right up at the top with that and press down, and it's like a sticker. But it's a special kind of adhesive that's nice and strong and made to hold wood to wood or wood to paint. There we go. And we'll get our middle in there. There's that. And now the last thing we have to do, and if you ever want to experiment, you just do this. And oh, I see I missed a little spot on the word summer on the S. There. Do you see how nice those markers work? They work just great. Okay. So there's the word summer. Same thing. When I do a kit for you, if there's ever a word or a very small, delicate piece, I'll always just put the adhesive on it, or do the sticker part on it for you. Reason being is then you don't get glue squirting out the sides. The glue we put on with a fine tip applicator, but sometimes on these super small, thin pieces, it tends to leak out. So I'm going to take that, and what I like to do is I like to just visually get it over those lines, and if you put it on perfect, then those lines do not show when you're done. So there's our Hello Summer sign, all done. Here's the one I did before, and I made that one the opposite. I did orange in the middle, or on the outer, and yellow in the middle. So you can do either way. All right. So we've got those 2 different ones. All right. We're going to set those over here. We'll come back to this, and then we're going to do our mug hugger. Now this sun, this looks like it's a perfect circle, but it's not. It fits in this sun just one way. So I always have to, there we go, get that kind of put back together so I know how it's going to go. Now this is a little bit of a bigger piece, so I did not make this, this one pre-adhered. So I just want to remember that's going to be my top. I'm going to take my glue, and the super glue you get comes with a fine applicator tip as well. And the trick to putting this on is just teeny little bits. You don't need a lot. And if you need to put it on very, very lightly, you can put the glue onto like a toothpick and then put it on. But I'm just going to eyeball that and center it. Get that on there. Okay. Remember, this is going to go in the middle like that. And I got that on right. Okay. So this one, then once you have the outer ring, it's very easy. You just put a few little drops of your glue in. And press to adhere. Just going to close a couple things on my screen. And let me know what you think of everything so far. Okay. Great. So here you can see I did these in just a little bit different colors. I did a different blue in the background, and I did the sun in a little bit brighter colors. It's hard to see on the camera, but they are. One is definitely brighter than there. That's a better angle. This had more of a glossy paint on it. I like the more matte look, I think, myself. Okay, so those are done. All right. So I'm just going to set our signs aside. And then I'm going to do the mug hugger. The mug hugger is this fun little thing. It's got several parts. It's got this backer, okay? This one I painted blue. It comes pre-painted white. You can make it whatever. I've got the sun. It's got a middle and an outer ring, just like our other suns. And the word sunny. And then this is the days, like that, already inscribed on there. And on the sunny, we did a little bit of an ombre. We colored it yellow, and then we went over it with some orange on the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we do that and get that all put together. So here's all our parts on here. And then you can see that spacer where it goes on the, this goes in the mug, and this goes on the front of the mug, and it has that spacer in there. And that's in there too, all made for you. So what I like to do for you when you come to a workshop is I like to do all the fussy work for you, so you just to get to create. So like gluing together the spacer is done. Again, pre-primed white on all these pieces. And then the pre-adhesive on the sunny. And this has got where you're going to place the sunny, and then the word days here. Okay. So I'm going to show you how it works while using paint over scored lines. So I'm going to use the same paint that we had earlier, that blue. See if it says the name of this blue on there. Oh, it says turquoise. Kind of a turquoise blue, kind of a beachy blue, I would say, sky blue. I don't know. But if you have your sponge and you've got these words, if you keep your sponge dry, the paint will not go in those crevices. So what you want to do is light coats, okay? So I'm going to keep it like that, and we'll probably come do a second coat over it here in a minute, but I like to keep it light so we don't goop up our letters that are already scored in there. See if that works better for you. There we go, where it says days, okay? Again, we're struggling with our lighting in here. I'm just in a spare bedroom in the lower level of a split, and the lighting is always a challenge. Okay, so I'm going to take that same blue, and when the score lines are for placement, I don't worry so much about if the paint gets in them. These are just for placement, so I know where to place my items. So I'm just going to paint right over them. And again, did one coat, and I'll come back and I'll do a second coat here after we do our other items. Okay, so keeping with our theme, I've been doing my inner orange and the outer yellow, just the opposite of what I did on this one, so you could see the difference. So I am going to go outer yellow. I'm going to find my brush tip marker, which is that one. Repeat that same process. And you see, yellow is one of those challenging colors. If you aren't putting it on something that's pre-painted white, it takes a million coats. For instance, look at that. It barely shows up. But over on the white, as opposed to just the raw wood, it really pops with one coat. And it's just, I like to save you that step of painting and repainting. You know, that's just fussy work. You don't need to do that. When you come to a workshop, you want to have fun, you want to create. You don't want to be frustrated by colors that aren't showing up right on your projects. So you come and you just start creating. Basically, we set up in my kitchen, and I'll have some snacks, and everybody has fun. I've had this will be the third or fourth workshop I've done in my home since I started doing these kits, and they're really fun. And then I travel and do some, like that one I'm doing in September at the Pumpkin Patch. There we go. Oh, see, I got paint on my fingers already. And I'm going to get, also while I have the yellow marker out, I'm going to do this. Do my word. And again, this has got that adhesive backing on it. So it's going to go on, because look at those skinny little letters, right? To glue that would just be a pain in the butt. So this is why we do the self-adhesive thing. And this adhesive part I put on the big sheet. I have a big sheet of wood, and I put the adhesive part on, and I paint the front white, and then I run it all through my cutter in one step. So you have got your sticker. Okay, I'm just going to make sure I got all my little bits and pieces painted. And that's going to pop nice against that blue, don't you think? Okay, and then we're going to come in and we'll do some orange here when I get my orange marker out. We'll do some orange on the bottom. Okay, so we'll do our middle. Going to use that orange marker again, that brush marker, and get going on that. Get the middle done first. And that's all there is to that. So I'm going to get my second coat on these parts. Need to get a little more blue out on my palette. Everybody's having a great summer so far. I cannot believe it's July, 4th of July coming up. Can you believe that? This Friday. We're doing a barbecue with some friends. I'm just going to, this part isn't even going to show, so I'm just not even going to do a second coat on there. I'm not going to worry about that. And then here again, I want to go over super light. Okay. So I am going to let this dry, but I will, since this part is lower, there's this little score part. This is where that spacer is going to go. I'm going to get that on. And then we're going to mount the front part to the spacer. So I'm going to get that on and hold that and get that started to adhere so that when we are ready to add it, our front part on. And here's what I like to do is when I really want to make sure I get good adhesion, I get that super glue on there and then I do a nice fresh firm press and press that down. So hi, if you are just joining us, this is Susie from the Speckled Balloon. We are making our Christmas in July projects that we will be making at my in-person DIY workshop in Grand Forks, North Dakota on July 15th. I just want everybody to see how easy these projects are put together. It doesn't take a lot of time, and you can get as creative as you want. And just kind of see how easy they are, and don't be intimidated. This is just crafting. There's really no right or wrong way. As long as you kind of put it together, you're good. So that's got a nice firm press on there. Now, this one is pretty dry. So I am going to put, we need to get our accents on here anyways. Remember I said we are going to do a little ombre look on the bottom. Here's what I like to do. I take a little orange and I just swipe it down the lower quarter or third of those letters. And then it just looks like a sunset or a sunrise. Okay, so that's all there is to that. Okay, and I'm just going to dip my thumb in some water here. Clean off my fingers so I don't look like I'm grimy. That's great. All right. My watch is telling me to get up and move. Not going to happen right now. All right. So there's that. We are going to get this front plate put together. Then we can do our back plate and then adhere everything. So here again, I've got that adhesive sticker. So I just have to remove that protective backing. And like I said, that little pokey poke tool, pin pen, whatever you want to call it, that works great for that. And if you happen to break this where the word breaks apart, you can still just put it on like a sticker and it will be fine. It's a very delicate hold. Same thing, we're just lining that up over that word, giving it a nice press. I see a little white where I missed with my yellow marker. I did just do that. So there's our sunny days front. That is all done. And you can see how all these projects basically fit into the palm of your hand. Isn't that cool? So here again, we're going to just glue on here. Do that outer ring first. This again is a bigger piece, so it's easy to do the glue without it getting all oozy. And you just do a little bit around. And it is a super glue, so it adheres quite nicely and quickly. And that's because if we're using wood glue or E6000 or something like this, those adhere just fine, but they don't set up very quickly. These set up within seconds. You have a few seconds to move it around, and then it is in place. I'm going to get my middle part on. Again, just a little bit of glue in there in the middle. Get my center. Press and hold. Now, you can see how this has got this spacer. This is going to go right over that spacer. So the trick to that is I always do a test run first, and then we're going to adhere it and we're going to press it for a while. Okay. And the reason we do that is to get that good adhesion of the MDF to the MDF. So I just take my glue, get a nice amount on there, because this is not going to ooze out or anything where anybody's going to see. So if it does. Now, I like to lay this down on a flat surface, put that over the top, and I'm going to give it a nice press for a few seconds. Okay, and that's going to adhere it nicely. When I make these for my shows, I actually have a clamp that I use on these so I can mass produce them. But we're just going to press that for a few seconds, and then you decide, do you like it better this way or that way? How do you like the suns? Orange in the middle or orange on the out? You can decide. And then this is kind of a light blue, and this is more of a turquoisey blue. So there's that. So our summer ones are complete. So we're going to set those aside, and we are going to get started on our Christmas items. So the first thing we're going to do is this little sign here. And for the Christmas items, we're kind of going for that rusticy farmhouse Christmas look. And I've already pre-stained this brown. Okay, and we're going to do a technique to kind of get this shadowing on it and everything. And then the two little parts are this ribbon that goes in the corner. I call it a corner ribbon, and the tree. All right, they're pre-painted white. So I am going to get out red and green markers, because that's what we're going to use on this. So I've got brush and bullet. We'll see what works best. Okay. And we're going to make this little one. I really like the simplicity of this one and the farmhouse look. I love that brown with your Christmas colors. That really kind of looks like craft paper or old wood. And then the nice bright colors. So the first thing we're going to do is just take everything off of there. You'll see that's got everything scored where you need to put it. And these are adhesive pieces, again, these small pieces. So you won't even need any glue for this. All you need on this is your paint or paint markers. I'm doing red and green. If you have got purple or pink, or you're doing whatever blues for your colors, you can do this however you want. This is just, I am a traditional girly when it comes to Christmas. So that's just me. So this is kind of a bright green. I'm going to see if I like it. If not, I'll switch to a darker green, maybe like this. But, you know, we'll try a bright green just to see how it looks. And it's not overly bright. I'd say it's kind of a powdery green look. Sometimes with markers, you never know what you're going to get. So it's just different than the dark green that I used. I like to show a couple different techniques so people can get an idea. Okay. There we go. That looks good. And if I need to, I can come over and do a second coat on this once it's all dry. Here, I'm going to put it on something dark so you can see a little bit more of the green. Once it dries, it will be better. Okay, it's kind of a light green compared to that dark green. Okay, and it's wet right now. So then I'm going to take a red brush marker and I'm going to do my ribbon. Okay, again, just kind of taking that side of the brush tip to get a nice big coverage area. That's what's fun about doing these laser things. Look at how nice and precise this is. And it scores things in for you. So you just know where to put everything. It just makes for very fun DIY kits. There you go. So that's done. You can see the green on the tree a little bit better. I am going to go over that one more time just to get that a little darker, which that is nice. Okay. All right, let that dry. And I'm going to do the technique, that aging technique around the sides and edges here. You can see it around that tree where it's lighter than darker. For that, I use antique wax. This is the Folk Art antique wax. I think I got it at Michael's. There's also the Waverly antique wax that you can get at Walmart in a bigger bottle. And I use a lot of antique wax because I do a lot of that rusticy farmhouse look. So, all right. So what I am doing here, I've got a little bit on and off camera, I'm just dabbing some off. Okay, so it's just not so much because I just want to go along, and you can see where it darkens up there. Just want to go along the edges and get that. Almost looks like leather sometimes when you do this, I feel. It just gets it that little bit of a darker look. There, I'll go kind of heavy in the corner. And then along here, get just a little bit more on my sponge. And I always like to go in the corners and around the edges. And it just gives it that nice kind of a framed, aged, they call that patina. I can never say that word right. But that's what that looks like, okay? So we're going to take that. And the red on here is kind of light. I'm going to go over one more coat with that red just to darken it up. It's just light compared to that red, right? I probably did 2 coats or used a different marker on that. No big deal. I'm a little bit of a marker junkie. I like to try all kinds of different ones so I know which kinds to recommend and to use in my workshops. And red is one of those colors. It's hard to get a deep, true red without looking too maroon or lighten it up and look too pink, or corally. So there's that. Okay, so I think that's good. We're going to, and you can just see they're just a little bit lighter than the other ones that I did, but no big deal. All right, so we're going to come here. We're going to do the ribbon first. I'm going to get the adhesive part off of that. It's funny to call it a corner ribbon or ribbon because it's made out of wood, and you can see where that lines up down in this corner and to the top and to the right-hand side. So I like to take my piece and my other one in my hand, the base piece, and I like to just line them up. And you almost don't need the lines for this one because it just, it lines up perfect to the edges. So there is that. All right. Now for the tree, again, this one has got a little outline where you want to put it. So I just like to get mine, and I like to line it up with the bottom of the outline, and it covers it. The outline is just slightly smaller than the object itself, so it goes on There you go. So it goes on and over and covers those lines so they are not showing. Okay, so there is that. There's the one we made before, and there's this one with a little bit lighter green. Go this way so you can see it. There we go. All right, we're going to set those aside. We are going to do sign number 2, which is our hot cocoa mug. And this is a fun one. It's got the base. It has got the mug, a snowflake, and a whipped cream overlay. And what's fun about these items that are pre-painted white, you do not have to do anything to these two parts if you don't want. I'm going to show you how we can shade that, this little part here. I just left white, but we can shade it with some brown. So it will show up like it's kind of got hot chocolate on it. And then I'm going to show you how to do these fun little accent lines too. So I'm going to put our done one right up there. I've still got my red and I've still got my green. We won't need green, and then we'll just need our white marker, which I've got over here. So instead of doing that shading technique on the background, I am going to show you how to do some white marker accents. This is a Artistro white marker, and you prime it, and then you get these nice little fine lines. And what I like to do when I want to do a border is I go a line, dot, dot, line, dot, maybe a dot in the corner. And this is a fine tip, so you get that nice, very fine accent along, and kind of gives it just that extra little bit of dimension. Okay. So we'll just let that dry. I'm going to check the fit on this. It's nicely in there. This is going to be my top. Okay. Now for the mug itself, if you want, you can do markers or you can do paint. I'm going to do paint. And the paint I am going to do on this one is bright red. It says for the name. So I'm just going to do a dab of it. That's the nice thing about these paints. You do not need much at all. And these sponges are really nice because if these dry out, you just snip this off with some scissors, and then and I know I'm going to need 2 coats to get that deep, deep red. But you just snip it off if it gets dry, and then you can still use a sponge, or you can use this end to do like thinner little spots. But this is the trick with this is, look at how nice my edges still are. Just a teeny bit, dab it off, and almost like a dry brush, put it on. So we're going to let that dry, and then we're going to come on with coat number 2 here in just a second, and we'll do some shading and some white accents on it as well, just like that one. So this one here, I am going to take, I've got just the teeniest bit of brown antique wax on here, and I'm just going to, on the bottom of this one, do the teeniest bit of shading on there just to give it that nice, okay, this is the part that's touching the hot chocolate, okay, and maybe a little around the edges, and then white in the middle, almost like a toasted marshmallow look. And this little guy here, I'm just leaving as is. It's a white snowflake, but it would look cute silver if you had a silver metallic marker, something like that. But this is pretty dry, so I'm going to come back over this, and we're going to do that second coat much better. And if you see, I can go over that line a little bit, and I'm just kind of pouncing on the paint instead of spreading it all over, and I get a little bit of a darker color. darkening up nice and deep red. And I want that dimension on there anyways of kind of the blended paint. There we go. And if I go up into here a little bit, that's okay, because this is going to go right over that and cover it. So the other thing I can do here on my mug when it dries just a little bit is I'm going to come back with my antique wax and do a little shading on the side and bottom. I did that here, as you can see on the one that I've already done. Okay, and it just gives it that little bit of dimension. And here again, what I do is I dip it in and then I just dip it off. So it's very slight. Okay. And you get that little line there. Okay, perfect. Now I just need to let that bottom part dry. The top part I don't have a lot of paint on, so I can get this on just fine. And the only thing about this, when it's a sticker, is it's a one and done thing. So you want to be real sure when you're lining it up. So I'm going to come here and I'm just really eyeballing it and getting in close and making sure everything lines up just perfectly, which it does. Okay. Now before I put on my snowflake, I'm going to do a couple little accents again with my white Artistro marker. These ones you have to just prime and pump. If you are watching, give me a thumbs up, say hello, tell me what you think about the projects. I love feedback. Let me know where you're watching from. We had Peggy on here earlier. I always get more people watching after the fact, which is fine. There, I did a little accent on the handle. And then I'm going to just do another one right here. And maybe one down in the corner. Okay. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Everything looks good. Okay, we are going to put our snowflake on. And that is dry, so we can do that. Again, the snowflake has got that adhesive. Like I said, I left mine white, but you know, silver metallic would look really cute. I just didn't bring my metallic markers in here. Otherwise, I would be doing it. Okay, that looks great. So now we just have to eyeball and get that on there. You just don't want it sticking up or below or off to either side. You just want it nice and centered. Okay, so I'm going to take, and this is not pre-adhered because it's a nice big spot. Bigger project. And you don't really have to put a bunch on the handle, just a little dot here or there. Whoops, sorry, didn't mean to bump you. Probably going to have to do that. There we go, straighten this out a little bit. Okay. So I'm just going to line that up, make sure I'm not hanging over on either side or over the top or over the bottom, and I look centered. And I am going to adhere and give it a good, oops, give it a good press for a second. I got a dirty thumbnail print on there. I'm going to fix that. Get a little water. There we go. That's what happens. I just get something on my thumb, that antique wax, and then it stains something that you don't want stained. There. So there is our mug sign. Here is the one from before, and here's the one with kind of the brighter red paint. You tell me which one you like best. I like them both. So there's that. All right, so we've got our two signs made for Christmas. Now we want to work on our Santa Gnome mug hugger. He's got a lot of parts, but he goes together quick too. So what we're going to do for him is unpack everything, and I'll kind of explain how he goes together because it's just easier to see it that way. So I'm going to take all our parts and dump them out. Get this out of the way. Okay. So we have got the base of him, and he is painted white. I'm leaving the beard white, and I will be painting the hat red. Okay, we'll either use a marker or we'll use paints. I haven't decided yet. And you can see then also on that hat, I added some white marks for accents at the creases and folds. You got your spacer, just like we did with our other one that we put on almost last. We have our gift. Okay, I painted it green. We've got his little pom-pom, pre-painted white. And then these are pre-painted flesh color. They are his hands that are going to be holding the present and his nose. This is a bow, and this is the brim for his hat. Now, I'm going to just set aside the things that I'm leaving white. I'm leaving his hat brim white and his pom-pom white, okay? Everything else is going to get a coat of marker or paint on it, with the exception of the beard, because that I am leaving white as well. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the red on his hat. Just need a little more red paint out. Set up my glue. There we go. And I just have to keep it above this line before his nose. So I'm just going to put my thumb there. And if I go over this line, that's fine, because that brim is going to cover it up, and you want the brim to cover up the red anyway. And I'm just leaving that deep scored line in the crease and doing that. And you can see how quick and easy it is to paint with these sponges. They just do a great job of nice even coverage. And I'm probably going to go over it again with a little bit of a darker coat, and we'll go from there. But for now, coat number 1 is on, and we're going to just set this aside now, and because we're leaving the beard white. Okay, these we're leaving hands and nose. Okay, and so we want to paint, I want my present to be green and my bow to be red. All right, so I've got this green, it's called grass green paint. I am going to put that on there instead of using the markers. Just a little bit of a darker green than what we used for our tree. Okay. Dab a little bit off there. But it's just a bit of a darker green, more Christmassy, I would say. And I'm doing the whole thing because the hands are going to go over that part, so that's fine. And again, just trying to keep it so I'm not getting it on the sides. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to just let that dry. Then I'm going to take my red marker and I am going to color in the bow. So, and this is what it looks like when you color with the bullet tip as opposed to the brush. The same type of technique, basically. I just am using more the tip of it instead of the side because it's just the way it is. So there we go. It's got that nice scored line in the middle and around the bow. How are we doing for time? We've been crafting for not quite an hour. We talked for the first 5-10 minutes probably. So we will be done though soon. This is our last project, and then we'll talk about our fall and holiday projects and our new stuff. So there's this. That's good like that. I am going to go one more coat with the green. Whoops. Holding this, kind of going over it like that. I've still got the outline of the bow that I can see. And that's fine as long as I can see it. That's good because it's just there as a guide. doesn't have to show otherwise. That's nice and darker. It's not a focus. All right, it's still wet, so it looks a little glossy on there. All right, do that. Okay, leave that alone, let it dry, and I'm probably going to come over it with a third coat. Now, we're going to do Santa's hat. Again, second coat. And again, if I get down in that section, that's fine because that brim overlay is going to take care of it. And there that is. And I'm going to let that dry, and then we're going to come in with some white accents. I'm going to just dab up this green a little bit more. All right, so that we're going to let dry. Do that real quick, okay? Again, if you want it on these smaller pieces, you can always go over them with a sponge too. Darken them up a little bit more. You just want to not get paint gooped into those deep score marks that are being used as an accent, like that middle knot on the bow. Okay? So this is pretty well dry. That's the nice thing about the thin coats too, is they do dry rather quickly. So I am going to go on Santa's hat and do a few little accent marks. And I just like to follow the outer portion. But if you're off a little, it really doesn't matter. But it just gives it that nice little extra, I think. Okay, so we are going to start putting him together. Since this is dry, I am going to get his brim and his pom-pom on. So this brim, yours might be adhesive. This one is not. If it isn't, no big deal. If it's adhesive, you just would remove that protective backing. If it is not, you're going to put just the tiniest little bit of glue on there. And you're going to just line this up best as you can, side to side. So it goes from this side to this side. And you've got a little wiggle room here. Oops. And it just, you can see it cuts right there with the item side to side. It just lines up nicely. And you're going to just do a quick little press to it here. Okay. And then this pom-pom, it's got a definite pattern to it. So you want to match that up as best as you can. I lined it up, and that one does have adhesive backing on it. And there again, I'm just lining it up right on the top of that. Oh, I had it wrong. There we go. No, it's still not right. Good Lord. Is that right? That's right. There we go. The little swirls on it line up. So you want to get that lined up, okay? See that? So now I'm going to press that. All right, give that a good press. Even when it's pre-adhered, the pressing helps. Stiffen it down there, really adhere it well. Okay, the nose just goes up in this little bump here. Okay, so that is pre-painted, pre-adhered. If you want to darken it up to a darker flesh tone, by all means, you certainly can. The peachy base is great. It will take on a more brown tone if you wanted to go over it with your antique wax. You certainly could do that. Other things you can do is you can do a little shading on the nose like that if you like. Okay. Now I'm going to get the spacer on there and get that adhered on there really well while we put together the rest of it. Okay, so here is our spacer, and it's got a little rectangle that it fits into. Just making sure it's on there. And again, that spacer makes it so it can fit over any mug that doesn't have a super thick brim. I think it's 3/8 of an inch that it ends up being. So just under a 1/2 inch. Or no, yeah, close. Okay, so that is what he looks like so far. He's coming together, right? He isn't just a white blob anymore. All right, I'm going to set him on top of that one for now. And we're going to work on this stuff. So I am going to do a little bit of white accents on my green package. And not a ton, but a little bit. And maybe on my bow, just a little bit. Like that. Okay. I'll let that dry. Okay. And I'm going to get, excuse me, going to get the back of the bow off. Okay. That's nice and exposed. The bow goes right down the middle. Right down the middle of your package. Like that. And then we just need his little hands. Don't lose these little pieces. They're boogers, huh? You got to keep them all together. A lot of people will double stick tape them to their work surface when there's lots of little parts. This makes it easier. So the hands go thick part down, and I just like to line them right up at the top. Like that. There's hand number 1. And hand number 2. So you can see where that pre-adhesive, pre-painting makes everything go a lot quicker. So there we go. We did get our painting done in just a little over an hour. That's really good. Our last part we need to do is just adhere to our spacer. And that's just going to go right over like that. Okay. So we're going to get that on there. And you want to get a generous amount on because you really want this to adhere well. And again, we're just going to give it that nice press for a few seconds. And then we are going to put all our finished pieces together into the base pieces. And we're going to talk about new products. So in a minute, I will also flip this camera back. So we are rolling and seeing not just my hands, but everything. All right. So there is our Santas side by side. So I'm going to get the base pieces and just lay them on here. I'm going to get our mug and our little frame. There's the mug. All right. Whoops. And this comes with a spacer, so your signs will pop out. We're going to clean up our area a little bit. Okay, so here is our 2 base pieces. And there, get everything out of the way. So we'll put, this is still kind of setting, so we'll do the summer pieces. So this is our mug hugger, our sunny sign, and our hello summer. I'm going to do the hello summer in here. I'm going to just keep that spacer in there. And we're going to get our sun. This looks better like this. There we go. And then your mug hugger goes right in like that. Okay. So those are our base pieces, and this comes with a little stand. So there's our summer ones that we did. Okay, and you also in your kit get some yarn that's going to go around here. For the summer, I included blue yarn, and for the Christmas, I included some red yarn. So I'm going to just set these all here. Now we're going to swap out, and we're going to put in our Christmas. So we've got our mug. And that one's thicker, so it doesn't need the spacer. So I'm just going to take that spacer out, put the mug in, put our tree sign in, and our Santa mug hugger. And those are all the projects that are going to be in this kit. Let me know what you think about them. These are your instructions. So if you end up coming and buying a take-home kit, you've got this for instructions. If you bought it at a craft fair or something. And this is the whole set of what you're going to get and your projects. You'll also have the yarn and everything. And these will just make such a cute addition to your summer and your winter decor or Christmas decor. So we are going to get these all stuck away here out of the way and clean up our area, and then we are going to bring in our little shelf and talk about our products that we've got that I want to go over with you. And I'm going to get those ready. Pardon me. I'm going to master the 2-candle thing before our next video for sure. So I'm not having to flip you back and forth and give you a ride. There's my hand. Lovely, huh? There we go. Hello. Okay. Let's see. To come down just a little bit. So you are seeing. Okay, you got me. You got the shelf. All right. So that was our Christmas in July projects. I hope you enjoyed them. They were really fun. I enjoyed putting the kits together and making things and figuring out what we're going to do. So we're going to talk about some of our stuff for our fall and winter projects. So I'm going to first talk about an old favorite that we have in our craft booth. We have had these for 10 years, are these tissue jars. They are made out of mason jars, just a quart jar. And then we've got a decal on it, and then a little string accent. And then inside we use these Kleenexes from Target. And these have been, people love them. They've been great. But I wanted to freshen them up a little bit. I've added, they have 10 different sayings. I got 4 or 5 different colors. But we've got an update to these, and I would love your feedback on it. Now, this is the one that says, bless you, Vicky. You get all kinds of different sayings on them. But the problem is sometimes I'll put on these decals and then the paint will peel around them and stuff, and I'm not happy about that look, and then I have to start over, and it's a pain to spray paint. So what I do is I thought it would really be fun. Everything, a lot of things in our booth are interchangeable. I thought it would be really fun to make interchangeable jars. So what I did was I took the same jar, did the same technique of spray painting it. And instead of a decal, I have this little metal disc here. It's just a little strike plate for a magnet. And I thought, what if we could buy one jar and then have it be interchangeable? So instead of a decal that could take off the paint, I've got a magnet back tag, and it's going to adhere right there, and it says bless you on the tag. You could dress it up with a little ribbon or whatever.
But that's what that looks like instead now. And then you can take this off and switch it out for a different one. So this one says, my apologies, it's just my allergies. And I've got no crying in the camper, no crying at the lake. I've got all these different ones that you can get on here. And that way it doesn't just say bless you, it can say up to 10 different things. So I'm working on all those. I'm getting all my colors and tags cut, etc. And those are going to be new to our booth. And I don't sell these online for the simple reason that they're breakable, and I don't like to ship breakable things. So if you are a fan of these jars, these will be available online. So I'm going to take this and these will be available in my booth. Sorry. So you come see me in Grand Forks, East Grand Forks, Fargo, or Bismarck, the smaller holiday. Now, I have been working really hard on some new Christmas things and some fall things and farmish and sunflowery type things, that type of thing. One of my new Christmas signs is this adorable, look at this fun little cutting board, and it's Mrs. Claus. It says Sweet Holiday Wishes. Okay. So that's that, and that comes with a nice stand too, or it can just lean, or if you want to add a little string there, you could hang it on the wall. So that's Mrs. Claus. She's new on a cutting board, and she's a little bigger. Normally, everything I make is about this size, about a 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, or 5 1/2 by 5 1/2. She is probably 8, 9 inches tall. Kind of a bigger piece. And I just thought, oh, it's kind of fun to have a mid-sized piece. So that's her. Then I have been working on several sunflower signs because I live in sunflower country in North Dakota. We grow and harvest sunflowers here. So I thought, and everybody loves sunflowers in our area. So I thought I would pay homage to that. So I've got some sunflower Highland cow signs that are going to be in my booth. And then this one goes with it. Current mood, MOO''D, like mood, like a cow moo, sunshine, and sassy. So those three together look really cute, don't they? Be cute little triple offering. And then a lot of people like gnomes too. And I got some sunflower gnomes. And so I will show you these. And I have a little poll out on my, you'll find a post from about a week ago. What do you like? Are you team sunflower? Or are you team with the cows? Or are you team sunflower with the gnomes? And it's very split down the middle. So you can go weigh in on that if you like. But there's these two guy gnomes. And then look at this girl gnome. Isn't she cute? Her little sign says Little Gnome Sunflower Farm. And here again would just be an adorable triple combo of those three signs. So those are some of the new things I have been working on. Again, now we are going to go over Christmas in July. Just one more time. If you are wanting to participate in Christmas in July, you will go out to the link that I have here, or you can find the event on the event page, and that will take you to the ticketing link. And these are what we're going to be making, okay? The mug with the mug hugger and the sign and the other frame, the cutting board frame for the sign. Some very quality pieces, and it's interchangeable. So those are the projects we're making. It is July 15th at my home in Grand Forks, North Dakota. All the info is at the ticketing link, and you'll get a response, and I'll email you reminders beforehand. So if you have any questions about anything we've made today or any of our workshops or the one in September, you just reach out to me. You can send me a message on Facebook, or you can comment on YouTube, and I will get back to you. But I want to thank you for joining me today. This was fun to craft and work with you, and I hope you guys all have a great day, happy 4th of July, and we'll see you in about a month when we go ahead and do our Petals and Projects online here as well. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.